Hasselbaink is one of only 3 players to win the Premier League Golden Boot with 2 different clubs. Only Shearer and Van Persie can say the same.
Job well placed, Hasselbaink! What a finish by Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink! Good effort, it's gone in! Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink has scored!
Hasselbaink! He's got another one!
During his time in England, only Thierry Henry scored more goals than him. Great company to be keeping.
Hasselbaink continues. Hasselbaink! Oh, that's pure magic!
Here he is! 3-1!
From breaking his leg as a kid, to getting involved in gangs, to being dismissed by several clubs due to some wild behavior, to finally becoming one of the most feared strikers around Europe. Welcome to Football Reminisce, and this is the incredible career story of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink.
Hasselbaink! He's pinched the ball! And he scores, surely, yes, it creeps in off the far post there.
Gerald Floyd Hasselbaink was born in Suriname as the youngest of 6 children. At the age of 3, he was run over by a motorcycle which broke his right leg. Luckily, he recovered without any complications, otherwise we wouldn't have been here covering his football journey. 3 years later, his mother moved to the Netherlands. Hasselbaink joined her. There, he quickly developed an interest in football and joined the GVO youth team. Weirdly enough, he actually played as a goalkeeper in those early years. He moved to ZFC for a year and then to Zeelandia. He featured as a right winger for both of those youth teams. Unfortunately for him, he ended up in the wrong company of friends and turned to street gangs. His youth team released him after he was arrested and detained for 3 months. He promised to change his life around and was given another chance at the DWS youth facility. Just weeks later, the club dismissed him for stealing a watch. Whose watch, you ask? Not a teammate's, a first team player's watch.
What? What the fuck?
Time seemed to be ticking on his career, if you know what I mean. Chelsea were the next club to take a chance on him. Despite still being involved in street gangs and breaking several team rules, the club remained persistent with him due to his abilities on the pitch. He went on to spend 2 years with the academy before being promoted to the first team at 18. He only ended up playing 4 matches for the first team, not because he wasn't good enough, but because he was dismissed yet again, this time for turning up late for a match. At the time, his brother played for AZ Alkmaar and Jimmy was allowed to train with them. Unsurprisingly, he impressed the coaches. Yes, he was a ticking time bomb off the pitch, but whenever he was playing, everyone's head was turned. Spectators would wonder how such a talent was clubless. Alkmaar rewarded him with a contract, and he went on to represent them for 3 years, making 46 appearances and scoring 5 goals for the second tier side. The club chose not to renew his contract, and once again he was without a club. More free time meant more opportunities to get involved in the usual bad habits. He also had a couple of trials in Netherlands and Austria, mostly with amateur level teams, but nothing came of it. And it was looking very likely that his football career would never pick up steam again. He was 23, but had already been dismissed by several clubs and rejected by the other half. He kept on working and pushing. He loved the game and was never going to give up. Someone was watching. Someone in Portugal. Campomaiorense had just been promoted to the Primeira Liga for the first time in their history. They didn't have the funds to compete with the other teams. They had to settle for the scraps and any hidden gems they could find. One of the gems? Hasselbaink. The club had kept an eye on him and were in contact with him the entire summer. The media had whispers about a clinical striker joining the newly promoted team, so the manager and chairman were flooded with questions about the player on a daily basis. Everyone wanted to know who this gem was. The club wasn't stupid though. They knew if they revealed his identity, the other teams would swoop in, offer a better contract, and they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. At the same time though, they were getting tired of the numerous questions by the media, so the chairman came up with a plan. Tomorrow, we will reveal his name. The manager could not believe what the chairman was about to do. The next day came and the usual question popped up. Who is the striker you are signing? This time, they got an answer. Jimmy. His name is Jimmy. Everyone was shocked that after weeks of mystery, the name had finally been revealed. Only problem was, Jimmy was just a made-up name. There wasn't actually anyone called Jimmy. The chairman's genius plan had worked. Make up a name, take the attention away from us as we complete the deal. The media, the fans, opposition clubs were all in search for a Jimmy. Eventually, Hasselbaink turned up as the deal had been completed. Hasselbaink was stunned. Everyone was calling him Jimmy. Welcome to Portugal, Jimmy. Hello there, Jimmy. Hasselbank didn't understand why everyone was calling him Jimmy. It was too late though. Even his teammates already knew him as Jimmy. And just like that, the name stuck. He was now Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. He scored 12 goals in 34 appearances, but this wasn't enough to keep the club up. By this stage, everyone knew him, and it was impossible for the relegated team to keep him. Boavista signed him for €300,000 that summer. The Dutch striker notched up 20 goals in 29 appearances and finished second on the top scorers list. He also won his first cup, the Taça de Portugal, a successful campaign. The club wanted to keep him, but the big boys were in for him. It was time for a big move.
Here's Hasselbank. It's a lovely turn, and it's a super goal by Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. 4 now in the Premiership for Jimmy Floyd.
Jimmy joined Leeds United for a fee of £2 million and didn't waste time in announcing himself to the Premier League, scoring on his debut against Arsenal. He only added a further 5 goals between August and December as he initially struggled to adapt to the pace and demands of the league. The second half of the season was incredible though, as he ended the season with 26 goals in all competitions, 16 in the league, only 2 behind the Golden Boot winners. He started the next season in a slow manner once again. By November, he only had 2 goals and 1 assist, but when he got going, he really got going. He scored home and away against both Man United and Arsenal, notched up a brace at Anfield, and a goal plus assist against Newcastle. He finished the league season with 18 goals and 11 assists. Just to remind you again, he only had 3 goal contributions by November. Oh, a couple of more points? Those numbers earned him the Golden Boot, and on top of that, he led the assist charts too. Only an elite group of players have managed to finish top of both of those lists in the same season. A side note too, Leeds faced leaders Arsenal on the penultimate weekend of the Premier League. Why was this a historic moment, you ask? Well, the very next weekend, Man United fans will love this by the way, Sir Alex Ferguson's team clinched the league title by only 1 point. Quite significant as the Red Devils went on to win the treble that year. Jimmy contributed to it. Leeds United fans will not want to hear that. Despite a memorable campaign, Jimmy had a couple of fallouts with manager O'Leary, as Jimmy always challenged his opinions. And when Jimmy requested a salary increase, David said, "What Jimmy is asking for, I don't think any club in the country could afford, and I don't think there is anyone on that kind of money over here." And just like that, Hasselbank was a transfer target for Chelsea and a couple of other Premier League teams, but Leeds refused to sell him to any English team. He was subsequently sold to Atletico Madrid for £10 million. It was a struggle of a season for Atletico Madrid as they were relegated that year, but on a personal note, Jimmy was exceptional, scoring 33 times in 43 matches, 24 of them in the league. That put him second on the La Liga scorers list that season. 2 of the goals were scored at the Bernabeu as Atletico Madrid defeated Real for the first time in 9 years away from home. He also scored at the Camp Nou and in the Copa del Rey final. Jimmy had a clause in the contract which would see him leave the club if they were relegated. Of course, that happened and he immediately left them, Chelsea finally getting their man for £15 million. Gudjohnsen joined the club at the same time too, and together they formed a deadly partnership. Hasselbank scored on his Chelsea debut, a 2-0 win over Man United in the Charity Shield. He finished the Premier League season with 23 goals, once again winning the Golden Boot. He matched that number in the 2001-2002 season, finishing only 1 goal behind top scorer Thierry Henry. Defenders couldn't live with his pace and power, and goalkeepers couldn't get anywhere near his shots. According to the man himself, he didn't believe he was ever good at headers, but he was great at picking up good areas in the box, and he definitely scored a few headers during his time. He scored 32 goals across the next 2 seasons as he shared minutes with the likes of Zola and Gudjohnsen. Mourinho's arrival at Stamford Bridge saw the end of Jimmy's time with Chelsea as Drogba replaced him. Middlesbrough signed the now 32-year-old, and just like he did for Leeds and Chelsea, he scored on his Premier League debut once again. His 13 league goals guided Borough to a top 7 finish, which was secured on the final day when Jimmy thumped this absolute rocket of a free kick away at Man City.
What a goal from Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank! He scores against Manchester City.
That strike clinched a UEFA Cup spot. His goal-scoring touch continued the following season as Bauer surprised everyone to reach the UEFA Cup final. Jimmy ended his Premier League stint with a one-year spell at Charlton before finishing off his career in the Championship with Cardiff. Despite scoring 9 goals in 23 caps with the Netherlands, his international career never really hit the expected heights. He was always third or fourth choice behind the likes of Kluivert, Bergkamp and Van Nistelrooy. On a club level, he left a huge impact, scoring 208 goals and assisting 57 in 480 games. Truly one of the greats. Jimmy was not the only forward to arrive from abroad and leave their mark at Stamford Bridge. Zola did too. You can click on the video on screen to learn more about the Italian Magic Box.